equity is pretty critical to any business, I think, but where we started from really was about the bottom that you can get in that. We had only about 6% female representation in a very male-dominated industry, and so we had to seek to change that. And obviously it's the right thing to do, morally, ethically and everything else, but it's also the right thing to do for the performance of the business. We're shutting out half of the population from working in our company. We're just missing out on talent and opportunity. Well, what prompted us to look at the data was, like any problem, if you've got a problem, unless you can measure it, you can't fix it. And I was completely flabbergasted. I came from another world. I worked 15 years at DHL where it was never an issue. There were dozens of different nationalities, mix of gender, and I never even thought about it. I thought everybody had that sort of culture. And then I came here at Asciano, and it was a real shock. And it's a heavily male-dominated industry from right at the bottom up, father to son type jobs. It was a bit of a shock. The immediate pay gap, as I say, is the easier one. So two people in similar roles. We actively discriminated in giving larger pay rises each period to bring those up to parity. That didn't take very long. The bigger program was to address the huge inequity of numbers of people and seniority of females, and that's much more difficult. So that you've got to start right at the beginning. What attracts a female to come and work at our company in the first place, to even apply? So if the image is one of gnarly stevedores on the waterfront, you've got to be able to lift 50 kilos with one arm, etc. You're not going to attract the cream of female talent coming out of uni, are you? So you've got to try and change the whole image of the company to start with, and make it genuinely an attractive place for women to work. And the way we tried to do that, we haven't finished by any means. We've made a lot of progress, but it took a long, long way to go. So we started to go through each step of the process. So getting girls to apply in the first place. We had, for a number of operational positions, we would have 0 female applicants to a job. 1,000 male applicants, 0 female. So manager would say, well, what am I supposed to do about it? No one's applied. So, well, you have to start changing what the profile of that position looks like so that we do start to get female applicants. We had other barriers, for instance, on the waterfront, where the traditional hierarchy of employment is you start at the bottom, like in any business, and the worst, the first job there is the worst for attracting gender, which is literally a physical one where you're lashing and tying down containers on a ship, and you do have to be physically very strong to do that. Whereas they can drive a crane, that's a highly automated technical skill. You don't need physical strength for it. So we had to try and change the whole EA structure with our unionized workforce to allow people to come in here instead of having to work up from here. We've also done a number of concrete programs. We started a program called Willpower, which was a positive discrimination, but we were proud of that. So we went out to seek females who wanted to join management ranks at a low level operationally and work up. And I think that's the most important thing, because if you look at any business, even industries nowhere near as sort of backward as ours has been, the women tend to go to the law, legal side, human resources, all of these sort of things. Where we need women is on the ground floor, where you work your way up through the operational side of a business. And that eventually will lead to more women in senior positions, and that's what will really move the needle. There were some die-hard stick in the muds, and we basically got rid of those people fairly early on. Then you had more of the unconscious, which was not that anyone wasn't trying to do the right thing, but for instance, that example of, well, no females have applied, so what am I supposed to do? You can't hold me responsible for that. Well, yes, you can actually go back and work out how you can make that job role more interesting for a female, how you can structure shift work, or how you can give them the opportunity to use technology or whatever. We also put a gender component into the short-term incentive for managers. So they had to, or they would physically lose remuneration if they didn't achieve the goals that we set for gender balance in their particular area. For a company like Asciano, which is as male-dominated, tough, blokey, oiky sort of culture as you can get, and certainly in my working experience around the world, if it can be done here, then I'm pretty sure it can be done in most places, if not every place. You've got to be absolutely relentless. At each turn, you'll find another barrier or another reason why people don't do it or can't do it or whatever. You just got to keep hammering away. And each time someone says, well, I can't do it because of this, you say, all right, we'll sit down, work out how we fix that one. And then the next one. And eventually it starts to become second nature. And you don't worry about it anymore, it just happens. Well, we've doubled the level of female representation in the period, but we have nearly trebled the rate of employment. I think the world is changing. We're one of the last bastions of how it shouldn't be done. Although we've come a long way, we haven't got as far as we'd like. But the thing that really did start to lift my spirits was when we were appointing women at double the rate of our total participation rate. So then, and that happened a couple of years ago, that started. So now you can see that it's only mathematics. If you keep going like that, it's going to get fixed. So we're employing at double or more than double. We're actually intending to raise it to triple our goal for this year. Then you're making progress. I feel very good about that. Very good about that.